So you're starting a new business, a new startup, you're super excited about it. You launched, you set up your Instagram, your Snapchat, your Facebook, and no one's finding out about the business, or you're just not getting that buzz. Like you see your other, Ogbenis, like, or your other person's like, why is this one in newspaper? Why is this one in Forbes? Why is this one in Financial Times? Why can't I get anything? Today, I wanted to talk about a topic that I got as a comment on the YouTube channel, and thanks everyone for watching. And the question was, how do you get PR with no budget? One option might be maybe the other person that you're comparing yourself to has an agency and is paying like a communications agency to do their PR. Or in some cases, like in my case, I famously never got any PR agency. And I've been featured in amazing publications. So I think we've been in Nigerian media. I've been on great shows here, Moments with Mo. I've been on Guardian, Punch, Financial Times, Forbes. How did I get some of this with absolutely zero money invested? So I'm going to talk about that today. So the first thing I think is really be building a great product, be building something that people are excited about and people will want to talk about if you have no money. There's no point, there's no PR person or newspaper person that wants to cover a story if you're just doing the same humdog job that everybody else is doing. So when I started Fashpa, it was very much one of the very first fashion online internet companies in Nigeria. And in my head, I thought that we were on the same level with like Konga and Jumia, who have raised $40 million. So I really was really excited about my product and was really happy to really be pushing it. Now, the second thing, you built a great product and you've checked that. Okay, how do you get this press? I think in my example, one of the best newspaper publications we got into was Punch and Vanguard. And I'll tell you the backstory of how we did that. So I had a friend who worked in communications in one of these big companies, and he had a lot of relationships with the newspapers. So I simply reached out to him and I pitched my company. Like, hey, I sent him an email, I think. Hey, what's up? I started Fashpa. It's an online retail company. I'm doing great things. We're really killing the show. I'm going to build a global, billion-dollar business. And, and I know you have hookups with these newspapers. How about you introduce me to some? And he did. So, and the guys came and they liked our story and they covered us. So what's the great tip from there? Your network is everything. The people that work at newspapers and TV, they're normal people like me and you. And somebody in your network might know them and you need to reach out to them to see they'll make an introduction. And I say people don't do that enough. Like I probably have great contacts in some of these places now from doing this business for a while. I haven't got any emails from anybody asking me to introduce them. So you need to use your networks and not be shy about getting your name out there and asking for press. Also pitch. Like if you know their newspapers, they're always looking for content. They don't know these stories. It's very hard to find you in Nigeria. You can pitch your business or you pitch your idea to an online media. So for example, Tech Cabal is one of the big online, what do you call them? Online websites in Nigeria. And I pitched Fashpa as well to them when we started out. And they ended up doing a small feature on our brand. And I know that they have this availability. So if you're starting a tech company, that's a great way. Don't be afraid to go out there and just pitch your company up. The third thing that I would say that you also need to do is look at pitch competitions and look at different sort of grants that are going on and apply to those things. So Indidu Nweli, she gave me this really great advice in my first year of Fashpa. She was like, you need to apply to as many things as possible. I mean, you might win the money, you might not get the money, but it's great exposure and you get out there. And so the next thing that came across in my case was She Leads Africa. It was their first year and I applied and we actually got selected as a finalist. And as a result of that, we were able to get tons of great press, which we wouldn't have normally got. So you need to check out all these competitions that are going on. There's so many. I know the ones a lot in tech, in fashion. Reach out. Don't be scared of applying. Because before I used to look at it, like sometimes the prize money might be like 500, $500 or something. I'm like, oh, I don't really need that or something. But it's really good way. Think about all the free exposure you get is so much more expensive and so much more valuable. So I would say completely do that. And I think then the most important thing out of all of this is also just be consistent with your story and have a clear story. I think most of the things that one of these press want to cover with new companies is always like the story, who's behind it, why did the person start the business. And if your story is interesting and compelling enough, you will find that people want to tell those stories over and over again. So I famously started Fashpa in my bedroom, and I built the site because I couldn't find fashion, and then from there we expanded to my living room, and I really built the team really small and scrappy, but we really were able to build something interesting in its space. So I think you need to have a clear story. You need to be able to tell that story very clearly. I think a lot of people have issues with telling your own story and not being shy and not being like wanting to say, oh, I don't want to feel too big, or I don't want people to think I'm arrogant. No, you have to be able to tell your story and sell yourself. And the final thing I would say is you stay pitching. So you stay pitching that story to the press, to whoever it is you meet, because you never know when it's that next person you're talking to is the journalist or is the one who's going to introduce you to the next person. So have a clear story. Don't be afraid to be consistent with that story. Don't be afraid to be the pushy entrepreneur. Like, I have no issue with that. If I feel like, I would like to be in this magazine, or I would like to appear on this TV, I'll send people text messages. I'll send them over and over again until they get tired and say, you know what, you should come on. So those are kind of my tips and my experiences for getting PR with like zero budget. It is possible, but you have to sort of be dedicated. You kind of have to be focused. You have to have a clear goal with all the things that you're doing in terms of how to get that PR. But it's totally possible, and I wish you all the best of luck in trying that. And as usual, you can always reach out to me here, either in YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel. You can send me an email. You can slide into my DMs. I'm really open to all forms of communication. But subscribe, and I can't wait to hear from you, and let me know about your experiences. How have you found getting press or PR for your startup? Thank you, until next time.